Everybody knows Leonard. Mr. Louie, everybody knows. He's so familiar to all of us. We love him. And you know, I thought he had done an awful lot, and when I looked at this list of things, I was amazed of all these things. Okay, so listen here. He started his voluntary service career back in 1959 because a friend asked him to help raise some money for St. Teresa's School. So Mr. Louie said, okay. So he spent most of his Sunday afternoons at the school. He ran bingo games for them there. He was just getting started. He was involved with the school, and eventually he founded the St. Therese School Board in 1961. He was its president until 1970, and that board raised money for the school's annual budget and also to upgrade the curriculum there, and they included, as time went on, classes in Chinese culture as well as language. Mr. Louie also was a founding member of the Chinese American Development Corporation. He was on the board as the executive secretary and director until that, as long as that corporation lasted, until 2005. It was a private enterprise, and I didn't realize all of this. It formed with a group of Chinese investors, and they bought the old Santa Fe Rail Yards property along Archer Avenue. Is this getting familiar now? And it became Chinatown Square. And Mr. Louie has also served both the city and the community. He was appointed by Governors Thompson and Edgar and Ryan to their Asian American Advisory Councils. Chairman of the Asian American Coalition in 2007, he is still serving that organization as a member of its board of directors. He also has been and continues to be a director of the Chinese American Civic Council, 2 terms there as president. He also joined the Chinese American Service League, where we are holding this, board of directors in 1988, and he stayed on there for 23 years, long time. And both organizations were formed, of course, to provide the community with social services. Now, if there is a major achievement in his public service history, it would be his commitment to obtain a replacement park and field house for this community after the Hardin Square Park. Remember that? It was raised in 1962 to make way for the Dan Ryan extension. So, in the beginning, it was like just him. He eventually convinced others to join in the fight, and I remember this, and all together they created a new park that is now called the Ping Tom Park. That was in 1999. And now they are officially the Ping Tom Park Advisory Council, which of course Mr. Louie founded, and they are now working to get a field house as well. It's marvelous. So, a new field house, an auditorium, today is under construction, and it should be completed later on this year? Later this year. Took another decade, but the result, a tribute to the dedicated members of that advisory council led by Mr. Louie. Now, every activity and every organization in all of these years in which he was involved, none was a paid position. He did this out of his heart. His actions were all voluntary. There were expenses too. He paid for them. He's also been very active in serving his church, along with the community, and serving in government. But most important, his service has been such an example to everyone here, all these people in Chinatown, to young people who see him and admire him and respect him. He's been a mentor for a lot of young people too in their personal lives and teaching them how to give back. And so I believe he feels that what they do with their lives will be a lasting legacy for him. Please welcome Leonard Louie.
First off, I'd like to thank State Attorney Anita Alvarez, Deputy Director Christine Chiang, and the Asian American Advisory Council for selecting me to receive this award, and to Tony Shu for having the guts to nominate me. Thanks also to State Farm Insurance and Walgreens Drugstore, who have been really good friends with the community and all our fundraising activities. So, and also to Bernie Wong and Castle once again hosting the event. And thank you all for attending tonight. I'm honored that so many of my friends, colleagues, and family have taken to join me for the function tonight. This special evening made it a bit more special because my daughter Carol, who now resides in California, is on a business trip to New York and was able to change her travel itinerary to be with me this evening. I really appreciate it. This afternoon, my personal advisor, and you know, married men have usually a wife. I have a wife and a personal advisor. Anyway, she spoke to me and asked me to prepare a short speech and to highlight some of the more important projects that I'm involved with. She also said, keep it short, don't get into too many details, and don't mention names, because you're going to forget somebody. So, here goes. My involvement began, like I say, in the 50s and 60s, when Hardin Squirrel Park was demolished to make way for the Dan Ryan extension. When it became apparent there were no plans to replace our park, I said, no way. You are not going to take away our park and not replace it. That was my first commitment, and I was with my tongue off. But they said, okay, now what do I do about it? Because I was a one-man committee. So I really didn't know at that time how I was going to get it replaced or where we were going to get it done. And to this day, I keep telling everybody, it took 40 years to get it done. And I mean that. It did. One of the other things, of course, that I got involved with was the children at that time, students, the Sanctuary School, and of course, like any other parochial school in that time period, and also now, there are financial problems. Satisfying the operators and keeping the school open. So, what to do? Well, we needed to run some fundraising for that. And we started with holding a bazaar in October of this year. And in 1960, 1970, we were able to raise over $10,000 over 2 weekends. And at that point, $10,000 was a lot of money. Well, that wasn't quite enough to satisfy the shortfall of the school. So then we decided that we would operate a bingo game on Sundays. So every Sunday afternoon, let's give up 6 hours of your job, including football time, September to December. So we did that for 3 years, and that helped to keep the school afloat. And today, Sanctuary School not only is afloat, but is rated as one of the top grammar schools in the nation. And they have actually a waiting list today of over 300 kids waiting to get in. One of the big projects that I was involved with, of course, was with the Chinese American Development Corporation and the 60 or 80 plus shareholders. Eventually was confident for the development of Chinatown Square. We went through years of anguish, worry, and we're on the brink, tossing it out and going belly to the board of shareholders who we met with us in a nauseous shareholder meeting. They decided we're not quitting, we're not throwing it in, we're going to hold this thing to the end, and somehow somewhere, something good is going to happen and come to this all. So, today, we have a plaque that was installed just the earlier part of this week at the east end of the Chinese Hospital Mall, where the east sign is located. And on there are the officers, directors, and shareholders who were responsible for not only supporting the financing and pushing us forward to keep fighting to get this done. We listened to them, and finally, yes, the good thing happened. My very good friend and financial wizard, and I promise not to give to you names, but I have to in this case, Raymond Lee, who has a computer mind when it comes to finances, came up with the plan that would keep us afloat until we had sufficient funds to complete the project. So today, Chinatown Square is a great success for the business community and residential complex. We owe this to our shareholders who had the belief and the passion to stay with it and say, don't quit, we're not quitting. Another item was, as a member of the board of directors at Castle, at the time when I was first involved, shortly after we were scattered all over Chinatown with different locations for different departments and rental property. One of the problems there was that monies that we were raising for programs were not used in that respect. They were diverted to satisfy with leaks, correct code violations, and so forth. And again, we realized we need to come up with some money. We need to consolidate all these departments. We need to have our own home. And today, that has also been successful because you are sitting in the Castle headquarters building, which is now also out all the facilities, all the departments. The groundwork for a replacement park began in 1989 with the help of Raymond Lee. I keep getting this name mixed in there. Ray had been appointed Chicago Park Business Commissioner by interim mayor Eugene Sawyer in 1989. He saw the availability of land between Chinatown Square complex and the river. And we spoke about it, and he says, what do you think about that? He said, they keep telling us we don't have the space to do something like this. How about trying to get the divided land for that? I said, hey, let's go for it. So he did. He got his fellow commissioners actually to go out to that muddy area with them, where they walked the whole place, and he convinced them, this is the new park, you need to buy this property from China. They bought the property in 1989. You know how things move in the city. It took another 10 years just to complete phase 1 of the park, which is the area on this side of the river. Phase 2, which was the most important, was to be the ball field, the field house, and swimming pool. So it was 10 years from the time we bought the property until 1999, when work was complete on phase 1. And Mayor Daley at that time commissioned the park in October of that year. I could go on and take you through the history of Chinatown since I've been here all my life. In fact, I have a similarity between the George and Linda because I too came over here when I was staying here and only a Chinese name. And the one who gave me the name, Leonard, was my kindergarten